Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Mary Ellen Vanakins, Sue Jennings. How you doing today, Sue?
I'm doing great. How are you
Good.
doing?
We're the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, and we have a treat for you today. We are going to talk about the 10 North Atlanta walkable areas to live in. We're going to talk about Asbury in Roswell, Georgia. It's a townhouse community. We're going to talk what we love about North Atlanta, which is the airport. And the design tip of the day is going to be display what you collect. So an exciting day. All right, let's dive into our neighborhood, Asbury in Roswell, built with David Weekley Homes and their luxury townhomes.
Yeah, they are. And there are only a few opportunities left in this community, but this is from Central Living by David Weekley Homes. Asbury is located at 310 Walker Avenue in Roswell, Georgia. And this is basically a beautiful community that offers new townhomes with open concept floors, high-end finishes, and is a fantastic location choice for everyone that you know and everything that you love. So anyway, David Weekley, as you know, has 45 years of building experience. So they are a very trusted Atlanta home builder, and they offer amazing amenities as well. This particular community is gated. It does have a pool with an open air cabana and a central muse area for you to enjoy. It's convenient to Roswell's popular Canton Street and also close to Avalon, which is just really one exit up 400 from where Asbury's located. So it's got easy access to Georgia 400 for you to get to the North Georgia mountains or get down into the city of Atlanta. And it's just a great location. So as of September 15th, 2024, the homes that were on the market there were priced between $787 to $799. They range in price. They're about 2,665 square feet with 3 bedrooms, 2-car garages, additional bedrooms, bathrooms, 2 full bathrooms, and they are 2 to 3 story in height as far as levels. And that's
Nice.
Asbury.
All right. Well, there you go. If you want to live in Roswell, that's the place to be. So, all right. So let's dig into 10 North Atlanta walkable areas to live in. Now, this seems to be the live, work, and play seems to be so popular throughout the country. And here in Georgia, the last 10 years, they are just growing and growing and growing. So tell us a little bit about some of them and some of their attributes for it.
Yeah, so these areas that are becoming so popular are popular because we've got great weather here, but they are pedestrian-friendly locations. And the first one I'm going to talk about is my favorite, of course. It's the Alpharetta City Center. It's got a lot of charm. It's in the suburbs, but it has urban amenities. And so there's wide sidewalks, a mix of restaurants, coffee shops, boutiques, green spaces, and also nearby, and you can walk from the Alpharetta City Center to this location, which is Avalon. It's a mixed-use community of apartments, restaurants, shops, and even banks, as well as a Whole Foods market. It adds a whole nother layer of walkability along that Alpha Loop connection between the city center and Avalon. And there's just so much within reach as far as dining and shopping options.
And you know what? There's even a library.
The library is gorgeous, by the way.
I know.
They
It's
often
unbelievable.
have beautiful exhibits. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, who would think everybody's, oh, you don't need libraries anymore. We got technology. Yeah, you still need that nice. And that is a nice, beautiful library. So
right. And both of these areas that I mentioned in downtown Alpharetta as well as Avalon, they have outdoor entertainment in the evenings and weekends and so forth. So it's just a great place to go, and you can, get a glass of wine and sit there and just enjoy yourself. You really can. It's a great place to unwind and relax and just people watch or listen to the music.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
So the next area that's very, very walkable that people love is the Roswell Historic District. Roswell is known for its tree-lined streets and its variety of art galleries, restaurants, local shops. The main drag there is known as Canton Street, and it's the vibrant hub of the heart of Roswell. It's a popular destination for residents and people in the area looking for cafes, farmers markets, boutiques, antique shops, and that all comes together as far as Roswell's historic charm and walkability in this sought-after location.
Yeah, and I love it because all of the little restaurants down there are like like old houses.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives it such character. It's not like you go into Alpharetta and it's just, it's typical, brand new, slick, what's urban, what's going on now. Then when you're in Roswell, what's exciting about Roswell is you have all these little cute little houses and you have restaurants and shops. And it's really just fun to walk down Canton Street, and location wise, you're so close to 400 to get anywhere. So really being in that area is great. Yes, you have to hop in your car to get to Atlanta from Roswell. You can't just walk there, but the walkable area, there's a lot of homes being built and townhomes and everything walkable. Same thing where you can eat and drink and be merry and go shopping all in the same place.
Right. Another area that has a lot of charm that I love to walk around in is downtown Decatur.
Yes.
And it's known as a very walkable downtown Atlanta type of a location with restaurants, shops, and cultural venues. There's a lot of art in this area as well. The community boasts, a vibe that has a strong emphasis on local businesses. And it's also serviced by public transportation with MARTA, and that makes it even more accessible. And, to the different neighborhoods, to schools, parks, and the proximity that Decatur has to Emory University make it a very highly sought after location to live in.
Yeah, and I love downtown Decatur. It's so nice, and I love all the art and stuff. It's very artsy place, and it's very different than Roswell and Alpharetta. It's more of that city vibe, but it's just a great place in North Atlanta that is walkable.
Right. It's a little bit older area where the homes have been renovated. A lot of older, charming homes that sometimes in that area you can find some home tours on certain weekends. And they are well worth taking advantage of if you have that opportunity, because what people have done to the interiors of these homes is just amazing.
It really is.
And, so it's just not what you expect at all when you walk in. And it's just a really, really great area to live in.
Yeah, like do you take a picture of the outside of the house, like you drive by the neighborhood, you're like, ew. And then when you go inside, you're like, wow.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible what people have done. Yeah,
yes.
Great place to live. So another area that's great to live in, that's in closer to the city, is Brookhaven. Brookhaven is a walkable suburb and has a growing town center. They do have a variety of dining and shopping and entertainment options. They do have lots of parks and green spaces. So residents there do have the opportunity to do a lot of walking to nearby attractions. And it does have more of a suburban feel with modern conveniences, and you're really close to the city there.
Yeah. And I would say a lot of millennials love that. They love that area. And the young families and even the Gen Zs, they like that area as well. It's just, it's really hip and it's close to the city. So if you're working in the city and you don't want to commute that far, Brookhaven's definitely a place to be.
Right. And there's some great country clubs that you can belong to if you do move to these areas that, give you the opportunity to play golf, play tennis and things like that you don't think of as being available to you in a, city center area.
Even pickleball, Sue?
Even pickleball. Yeah, even pickleball.
Good.
So one of my next areas that I'm going to mention is being and has been revitalized. And I find this area to be so exciting because of that. It's Shambly.
Mm.
Shambly is an area that has changed so much since I first moved here, 14 years ago, and it's become a real hotspot for a walkable lifestyle. It's an eclectic mix of international cuisines, breweries, ice cream shops,
Ooh.
boutiques, and residents can, really experience an urban environment. But, MARTA does serve Shambly so that you can commute in and out very conveniently. And yet there's still a lot of great parks in this area and a lot of new revitalization and new growth to that area. It's a
Yeah, and I
really
just
great
love it.
spot.
It's just, yeah, all the little cute little older houses and how they've been redone as well. And you have me at ice cream, right? We all have each other at ice cream. Whenever you say something has a lot of ice cream places, all these places have ice cream places. It's a place you want to go to, or
Yeah,
you
the
want
the
to.
one that I'm thinking of in particular, I can't think of the name of the shop, but it's in like an old trolley car and a little like a train caboose type of a thing. And it's just so cute how you walk up to it and has no indoor seating or anything like that. So go on a nice day, but just really, really cute.
Yeah.
So the next area I want to talk about is Dunwoody Village. This is a very quaint village-like atmosphere with easy access to shops and restaurants and cafes. It's very pedestrian friendly, has a very strong sense of community, and they do regular events like farmers market and so forth. It is close. It does have a lot of parks in the area. It's very suburban feeling, but you're within, the city limits of Atlanta, and you have the conveniences to walk to your necessities, like your grocery store, for instance.
Yeah, and Dunwoody, like when I first moved down here, we lived in Dunwoody, and I just loved the charm of Dunwoody.
Mhm.
It was just so nice. And like you said, all you've got all the parks there, and you have all the little shops, and it's just so close. And another thing, you might live in Dunwoody, but your address might be Atlanta.
Mhm. Yeah,
Or
very much
so
so.
so I think that people like when they say Atlanta, Atlanta incorporates such a big place. So you might have an address of Atlanta being in Dunwoody or being outside of Dunwoody or Sandy Springs. So that's just
Right.
something to think about because Atlanta's so big, and I still don't understand the areas. Like they say Atlanta, and it's so big, just like Alpharetta, and you're just like,
Right.
it's such a big city and town and everything. So
Right, right. And I think in my mind anyway, the line blurs between Dunwoody and Sandy Springs.
yes.
So Sandy Springs is a very big area, but Dunwoody and Sandy Springs in my mind kind of blur together and maybe are divided a little bit by Georgia 400, but don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
So my next favorite area is an area that I actually recommended for family members of mine to move to that moved here from out of state, and it's Peachtree Corners. Peachtree Corners is kind of a spin-off of what was part of Norcross. It has a transformed city center with a walkable destination of the town green, which is right across 141 from the Forum, which is a great shopping area there. The town green has a central park. It's surrounded by restaurants and shops and entertainment venues. I did go to one of this entertainment venue there, and I did see an Eagles cover band the other summer, which was a lot of fun. You just bring your lawn chair and set up and have a great evening. The whole area is very walkable. It's pedestrian friendly. They've even built a pedestrian bridge across 141 so that you can get from the town green side over to the Forum side with absolutely no issues with traffic. And it's just a lively community atmosphere. And like I said, those regular events that they hold there or the outdoor concerts and so forth are so much fun.
And what I would say is like really Peachtree Corners has transformed this
Mhm.
in the last, what, 5 years, 5, 10
Oh
years.
yeah, it's very
And it's just,
recent.
it really, really, really is amazing to live there. So that's a great place to live. It's Peachtree Corners.
Right, right. So the sidekick of Peachtree Corners was originally Norcross, but I'm not
Yes,
discounting Norcross, but Norcross has a really cool downtown historic area
it
to it
does.
that is very walkable and has a small town charm. There are a lot of historic buildings there, cafes, galleries, boutiques. There is a great park there that Thrasher Park that you'll see in the
Mhm.
spring. You'll see prom groups go there for their photos to be taken because the park is so pretty. You'll see bridal parties there getting their pictures taken
Mhm.
because the park is so pretty. And it's just a great spot to gather, to enjoy outdoor activities. And Norcross is a little slower paced than maybe some of these other areas I mentioned, but still a great area to live in and maybe a little bit more reasonably priced than some of the other areas too.
Yeah, I agree on that. But it is
Mhm.
really cute and quaint there too. I like
Mhm.
Norcross. So, all right. And our
And then the
last one.
last place I want to talk about today is kind of up and coming and really making a big transformation, and that's Woodstock. It's developed into a very walkable downtown suburban city in the North Metro Atlanta area. Has a variety of restaurants, breweries, and shops. And they have walking trails that could connect to local parks. And the community as a whole regularly hosts events like concerts and festivals, and it makes it a very vibrant, pedestrian-friendly area to live in.
Yeah, and a lot of people do live in Woodstock, that area, because it's a little easier commute to certain places in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's
you're
very
going to see.
close to I-75 and 575.
Right. So if you need to hop on the highway to get to work,
Mhm.
definitely Woodstock. And I love I mean, it really has transformed, and I love all the little shops and all the little restaurants there too.
Yeah, so basically what we covered in our 10 places that are very walkable in the North Metro Atlanta areas, we talked about suburban comfort, even though some of those places are in the city of Atlanta. We talked about the historic charm of the areas, the access to amenities, and it just makes them all ideal places to live in those walkable areas of North Atlanta.
And the North Atlanta allergies are getting to me. That's something that
Yes,
you
that
may
time
not
of year
like
again,
about
isn't
North
it?
Atlanta, but in the fall, the allergies are, I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's been an interesting week. So anyway, okay, now we're going to go into our next segment about what we love about North Atlanta, and it's not allergies, so I can tell you that. What we love about North Atlanta is how close we are to the international airport.
Mhm.
Excuse
Well,
me.
our airport in Atlanta is named Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. It's one of the busiest airports in the world, but I also think of it as one of the most efficient airports in the world. And it's really not a destination hub for a lot of people, even though Atlanta is a destination for a lot of business travelers and so forth. It's more of an airport where people are flying here to change planes and fly somewhere else. So those individuals that are within the airport system aren't necessarily leaving the airport to come into the city of Atlanta on every basis. But they do it does provide about 63,000 jobs for the city of Atlanta, and it's the state's largest employer because of that. It does have a $35 billion economic impact on the metro Atlanta area. And it is what's great about living here is that you can fly to more than 150 domestic and 70 international destinations nonstop.
I know. That's
You
why we live here.
not
I mean, that's the reason why we live here. Is
Yes, I
nonstop
don't like to change
flying
planes.
everywhere. Nonstop flying. You don't have to change planes. Yeah, no. Um, and another thing is, like, everyone comes to Atlanta and goes, "Oh my God, you have to walk." Like, okay, put your walking shoes on. Don't be wearing heels walking through the airport. You need to have your sneakers on, and you need to be walking through the airport or grab on one of the trams. Yes, it's a huge airport, we have domestic, and we also have an international airport all within the airport. And you can get from one place to the other through the airport, through the tram system. But yes, you have to walk a lot. I know people don't like that, but yes, the reason why we do live in Atlanta is because when you're traveling, you're a lot of places you can go nonstop. So that's a huge, I would say, thing about living in Atlanta.
Right. So roughly 100 million passengers pass through that airport in a given year. And the airport is very easy to navigate. That's one thing I always tell my friends and family when they fly here, is it's so easy to get around Atlanta's airport. It's basically, think of it as, a straight line with, cross hatches on that straight line going, from A to F, basically. And I know there's more terminals than that, but
there's T, don't
it's a
forget T
straight
and baggage
line.
claim.
Yeah, you can get on the plane train and get from, terminal B to terminal D in no time at all. And, the plane train runs like every couple minutes. So it's not like you even have to wait very long. But what's really cool about the airport, too, is it has a lot of cultural displays and, even outdoor displays. So if you choose to walk from, say, one terminal to another, you could be walking through a forest underground, just enjoying the music and listening to the birds tweet and things like that. It's just a very, very cool artistic experience. There are other parts of the airport that show a lot of history of the city of Atlanta, show the culture of the people that made Atlanta what it is today and the backgrounds of those people. They are constantly renovating the airport to make it ready for the future. And so right now they're working on building larger parking facilities for the airport. So my recommendation, if you do live locally, is you might want to consider using some of those off-site parking companies that are available that run shuttles to the airport and maybe skip some of the on-site parking at the airport. It really depends upon, how much time you have and, what your patience is for that sort of thing. But within the airport itself, there are more than 300 commercial venues for shopping, dining, and any service needs you might have within the airport. And they also, like I said, they do have the exhibits. Some of those exhibits rotate. And sometimes you'll even see pop-up musical performances for guests and so forth to experience while you're in the airport. There's two really amazing restaurants in the airport that I always like to visit. One is Echo and one is One Flew South. I think Echo is actually like between terminal E and F. Yep. I think One Flew South might be terminal D. Don't quote me on that. Excellent food in the airport.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you a story about Echo. So Echo is like it's in the F. So my husband travels a lot or traveled a lot for work. And he would always go to Echo before he'd catch on his international flight because he just didn't want to go to the Delta Sky Club. He just wanted to get a good meal before he would fly to Mexico. So like literally he would go there. He knew every single waiter, every single bartender. They were like, oh my God, Mr. Van Auken, you're here. So every time we would go there, I felt like a celebrity because they were their customer service. So remember, it's when you talk about a restaurant, you're talking about a client experience. When you're in an airport, you don't expect that client experience when they know who you are and because you're there so often. So anyway, I love Echo. That's one of my favorite. But remember, there's so many Delta Sky clubs, and there's the Centennium Club, and there's all these different clubs too. That's another thing. If you're stuck in the Atlanta airport for an hour or two, or you have a layover, there's so many things to do when you're in there. You're not like in the small little airport where you're stuck and, nothing to do, So
I actually go to the airport early because I enjoy being in the Hartsfield-Jackson airport. I know some people must say, oh, she's crazy, but there's so much to do there, and I wouldn't normally go there unless I was flying, but I fly enough that I do enjoy going early and experiencing some of the things there.
Yeah, and I would say, like, okay, this is not an airport that you go to, 5 minutes before your flight. So really take time, and I think that that's what bugs a lot of people, that it's such a big airport. I mean, you could be having to go to E and F is international, but you could be in T and then you have to go to D or something like that. And people like get all nervous, and it is very crowded in the Atlanta airport. I have to say, no matter when you go, it's usually very crowded. It's kind of like a New York subway where there's people coming in and out. And I think some people in the South are not used to that kind of environment. So just be prepared for that kind of environment when you're going to an airport. But it's great that you have that whole international terminal is usually E and F is the international terminal. And that's where all the international flights go. And that's why you have the good restaurants. There's a lot of restaurants and clubs to go and eat there too as well. But that's another reason why we do really love North Atlanta, is because from North Atlanta to the airport, it could take anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours to get there, an hour and a half. So just remember and take time, because the Atlanta traffic is tough. And one thing that we do recommend, if you do have flights, try not to have them during, rush hour. If you can control the time of your flight coming in or going out, try to not do those times, either early in the morning, later in the afternoon, or whatever. So just because there is traffic in Atlanta. Unfortunately, that's something we don't like about North Atlanta, is the traffic. But there's so many positives that's
right
there. So
right. But MARTA does go all the way in to the airport. They do have a station at the airport. So if you want to use MARTA, you don't have to worry about parking your car or anything like that. You can just
the MARTA has been sometimes life-saving, for a lot of people. All of a sudden you're on the highway and it's like the traffic's really bad. It's like, well, I'm going to drop you off at the train station at MARTA instead. MARTA goes straight into the airport. You don't even have to go outside. You're inside the airport, and then you can just go from there. Right. So, and the parking, they are building a lot more parking, but there's so much parking like right off, and they have buses that take you in to the different places, like the parking spot and Fly or whatever, I don't know. We use parking spots, so I don't know. But there's so many different ones that are just right off the airport, and those are the places. And
I use Peachy Park when I go. Peachy Park has indoor parking. They have valet service. They also have outdoor parking. And what's nice is if you come back at night and you're on their shuttle, they don't just drop you off. They take you right to your car. That's what Peachy Park is known for. They will help you with your luggage. They'll take you right to your parking spot, whether you're inside or outside, and they will help you with your luggage, which is really, really nice. And I found that their prices are really very, very reasonable for what it is compared to what I used to pay up in the Northeast at an airport. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So, there's some advantages and disadvantages for having such a big airport, but we find it very, very positive for our life, and especially if you're coming. A lot of people will come here for business, and they end up, living here, and they have to fly out and go other places. So it's kind of an easy access to get to the airport and to get to places you want to get to.
Right. Well. And one little tidbit for finding your gate. I know I mentioned that, Atlanta's basically built the airport's in a straight line. Well, the entire south side of that straight line is Delta. Delta's gates are all on the south side. And then if you're flying any other airline domestically, it's all on the north side. Yeah. Really easy to figure out.
So you got the red and the blue and everything else. Right. So just remember, I always just remember Delta, is south. We just fly Delta because
we fly Delta all the time. They have this great nonstop flight to Burbank. I love it.
Yes, so it's good with that. So, anything else about the airports?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I will say in the international airport, there's not a lot of parking, so just always be prepared. But you know what? I got a trick. If you guys, if you're not carrying a bag, like if you're not, if you just have a carry-on and the traffic is horrendous in the normal, just have somebody drop you off at International and you can go straight through as long as you're not checking a bag. I do that a lot because you can, and especially since they're doing all that construction in the regular domestic airport, but you can't have, if you check a bag, you got to go to domestic. But if you're flying domestic and you have a carry-on and you want to get there quicker, just because then all you do is you hop on at F, and then you just go to A is where your gate is and you're all good going through security. And I want to tell people also, there's Clear, there's ID, TSA, and there's ID, what the new thing, I don't know, I have it. It's like ID identifier. It's right next to Clear. So it's faster than Clear. Basically, it's amazing, the technology. And then you go to other airports and you're like, oh, they don't even have Clear. They don't even have TSA. Right. I mean, what do they have, So you can get through the airport easily on those different things, Clear and ID, whatever it's called. I have it. I don't even know what it is, and TSA and that kind of stuff. So getting through the airport and getting on the lines, during the holidays, the lines are going to be longer, but if you do have Clear and all this other stuff, you're going to get through security pretty quickly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, I get all excited about airports. I don't know why. Because I love to travel. So anyway, let's talk about the design tip of the day, which is display what you collect. Now, this was very interesting, Sue.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about this.
So I think everybody that's listening has something that they're very, very interested in, that they're very passionate about. And we recommend that you not stash all those things in a closet or your storage room. Why don't you get them out and use those items, your old sporting items or your classic comic books or whatever it might be, vintage quilts, vinyl records, and work those into your display, into your home, into your decorating. It's cost effective. You've already owned these items and they're great in your space. They make your space feel like you, and they make your space comfortable and very interesting to your guests because they become conversation pieces. And so don't just hide that stuff away. Use it.
Display it.
Yeah.
You collect it, display it. Unless you have a spouse or a family member that collects something that you don't like. Then you have them put them in a box or something. But I'm not saying anything. We, whatever we have is pretty. But you never know. I mean, if you don't, if you unfortunately, have someone in the family that collects something that's very, very odd, you might not want to put it in, display it. You can have them displayed in their room. So yeah, I mean, it could be anything from, like, we even have a client now who the husband collected those cars and they had them like in like an area, and it was just so cool to look at them. It was a conversational piece because you didn't like, if you knew him, you didn't know that he really loved those, whatever cars. I mean, I have a husband who loves Legos, so I mean, we have Legos displayed in the basement. That's his thing. And he loves to make them and create them. It's his time, so he will create. And I actually do Legos too, so I put them together. And but he displays them in his own little area and stuff. So you can do that as well. But it's interesting. People have definitely interesting teapots. I've seen people collect teapots. They collect all kinds of things. So
right. I've got a great
craziest
Lego story for you as a side note. I went to a wedding this past weekend, and all of the flowers at the wedding were made out of Legos.
Wow, they must have been.
The bridesmaids, the bride, everybody carried Legos. And they're a thing. They really are. You can go to Best Buy and buy these kits and so forth. I'm sure you can buy them online. But even the boutonnieres that the groomsmen wore were all made of Legos.
Were they heavy? I would think they'd be
no, Legos aren't heavy.
Yeah, but if you put a flower together, it would be like laying you down. Like, I mean, I could see carrying them as a bouquet, but putting them on a boutonniere, I thought that would be.
Yeah, no, but they even had the centerpieces on the tables were made out of Legos, and then they told everybody when the wedding was over, take a memorabilia of Legos home with you. So I brought home a little pot of violets that were made out of Lego butterflies.
Very cool. All right. Well, that was just we like to go off script a little bit. Tell some funny stories. So hopefully, Legos or whatever you collect, put them out there. It's a conversational piece when you have people come over. So, all right. So today we talked about 10 North Atlanta walkable cities to live in. We talked about the neighborhood Asbury in Roswell, Georgia. Can't say that 10 times. And what we love about North Atlanta airports, we got a little excited about that. And then we talked about today we're like excited about everything. And then today we talked about display your collectibles. And we talked about Legos and trains and I don't know, like Lego that they put on wedding bouquet.
Legos aren't for kids anymore.
No, Legos are for everybody. So, we talked all about that.
Space shuttle out of Legos.
And we have one. And we have one or two. They're really cool. They're cool and they're hard to build. These Legos are really hard to build.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yeah.
It's not like, you put it together in like 1 hour. No, it takes a long time to put Legos together. It's kind of fun thing when you're watching football, an SEC football game on a Saturday, right? You can sit there and do Legos. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Follow us on social media. Thanks, Sue. Everybody have a great day and thanks for listening.